Hey everyone, how is everyone doing? Bunch of messages here already. I have a question. This is from Dudley's Fall. I have a question. What happens to wages during hyperinflation? How can you afford a $50 hot dog? And debt. Sorry to jump right in. Love your book. Okay, that's actually a very good question. And the thing is, you just don't afford them anymore. You just cannot buy them anymore. Um, Man, that's why a lot of people end up going through hunger and starving, even in countries that produce food. But if you don't have means of of buying a lot of this stuff, it's not as easy as sometimes people think it is. You can grow food, you can do lots of things. You cannot replace every single thing, and especially when you are in a place like that. Venezuela would be the perfect example. In Venezuela, a monthly wage, you can barely buy an actual can of tuna in their own stores. So you just get by with whatever the socialist government in charge gives you, and then you just find ways as to get by as best as you can. John Hawkin, hello all, good to be a prepper. Yeah, yeah, these are good times, right? Loud and clear. Thanks, man. Doing okay. Hope you're too. Yes, we're doing fine. Thanks. Hello from Phoenix, Arizona. Fantastic. Everything fine here from Brazil. Health crisis, economic crisis, now political crisis. Carlos Magno. Hey, how is it in terms of with Bolsonaro? Is he less popular than he used to be? Because he was fairly popular back in the day. Right now, he's a little bit struggling with that. How will COVID and U.S. government handouts affect our economy for the next years? Bryan Gibbs. That's a very good question, Brian. And the thing is this: it's gonna be rough. And in terms of the United States, what happens when governments start handing out money, doesn't matter. I mean, doesn't matter the label. Forget about labels. Forget about when a government starts handing out money like as if it's candy. That money starts losing value, and you start seeing that through inflation. Inflation is the realization of people that that paper is not worth as much as they thought it was, and it has happened everywhere. I mean, it has happened in Argentina, and if things continue this way, it will happen in the United States. It's already happening across the world, some places more than other, but you see it in terms of prices. You just buy less stuff with the same amount of money each passing month, and as it gets as it gets worse, it starts accelerating, and it becomes more and more noticeable. It reaches like a tipping point in where people just want to get out of the system, just want to get their money out of the bank and just buy whatever crap they find. That is the tipping point. That is when the economy usually just crashes and collapses. And basically, when people lose faith in the economy, in that paper money, which it is, because it's just paper. But it's paper that people have faith on. Once that faith is abused, eventually lost, then everything starts getting pretty ugly. Watch out for Fort Lee as well as the spammers making their rounds on channels such as yours. Yeah, yeah, I have someone there watching my back, but yes, spammers are a thing. Sean Hank 1234. It's my favorite thing to do on Sundays. Hang out with Fernando. Hey man, thanks. Sean Hank, yeah. Sky Blue, the more I prep and look into prepping, the more I realize how much I'm not prepared. Well, that is, you can never be Sky Blue. That's a good attitude, I think. I do that myself. I've been in this for a long time. And not only been this for a long time, but also been very serious about it for a long time. A lot of folks have done this. This is what I do. This is pretty much what I'm doing and thinking about and working on all day long, and it's my passion as well. So there's as you realize, there's no weekends for me. This is what I do every single day, all day long, in spite of what my wife suggests I do with my time at times. But I still realize I was talking with some folks actually a couple hours ago. It's a lifelong journey. You never stop preparing because it is so wide and so broad. How it, I mean, it's about fitness. It's about health. It's about the way you eat. It's about exercising, self-defense, economy. It's about the way you raise your kids. It's about everything. So yeah, indeed, a lifelong journey. Hey, there I have a super chat. Thanks. This is from Chuck Mung. Buy yourself some more 9 millimeter jacket hollow point. Thanks, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, super cool. Thanks. Yeah, well, actually, you know what? Since you said that, I will put those $10 towards buying a bit more ammunition. Thanks, man. I was actually looking at doing such thing. I still have to check in terms of the shipping, how it's working these days, but I was looking at to buy a bit more ammo. And yeah, that will become very handy. Thanks. How do you think about owning gold and silver in a hyperinflation scenario? Uh, well, it is definitely going up in price, right? Gold is going up a lot. You know what? I'll admit to you this. I wish I had bought more gold because I focus a bit too much on silver, and I didn't follow my own advice for a while. This is something that happens as well. When something like this becomes your job, you know what you're supposed to do, and not you don't always do it. So I wish I had bought less silver, more gold. I mean, I'm still happy with the silver I have because it's definitely keeping its value and such. But gold definitely is the way in which everyone rushes to and runs to when they see things getting complicated. The other one is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, after the initial crash when things started getting pretty complicated, it recovered nicely. And guys, a little tip for everyone: try putting a few bucks in Bitcoin. Nothing you cannot do without. Nothing you cannot risk losing. But a few bucks in Bitcoin is definitely a good idea, and I have to do a video about that. Another super chat here from Bryan Gibbs. Man, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm getting closer to the ammunition I had in mind. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I need to buy a few. I'm thinking about a bit more 357 because I have three revolvers in 357 and my Winchester in 357. So I need to keep that puppy fed, and 357 ammo is not cheap. I have to get into reloading as well. That's another one. How much gold should someone invest in? Man, Sean Hank, that is super personal. It depends on how much you can afford to put into it. Um, do you have your bases covered already? Do you have enough? I mean, right now, food, supplies, the basic stuff you need, especially with everything going on right now. You don't want to be without those essentials, especially food, medical supplies. You have a firearm, ammunition, so as to keep it fed if it ever comes down to it. So once you have that covered, there's different numbers. I've seen everything from 10% to 20% of your savings in precious metals. Those are numbers you often come across. 20% is a more the more prepper minded will tell you 25% of your savings in precious metals. Man, it is super unlikely to just disappear and lose all of its value. It's gold. It's been around forever, so it's not going to be going down in price anytime soon. That is a certainty. What do you think of the newer personal defense weapon 9 millimeter pistols with brace? Bryan Gibbs. Man, I think they have a place, but Brian, you know what? I like them when you actually have a proper stock, and many of these braces are basically a way to get around the laws that we all know of, and so as to have a stock without being a stock, right? I think it's a very nice addition to your arsenal because it gives you the option of firing very cheap, interchangeable round with your handgun, while at the same time sometimes people think that, oh, it just doesn't make any sense because it's a long gun that's firing a pistol round, so it's still a pistol. Well, not so much. First of all, you have a little bit more barrel length, so it's going to be giving it a little bit more speed, especially with proper ammunition. Some of the hotter plus B 9mm, you're going to be getting a little bit more wallop in that round. And besides that, those additional points of contact, and if you add a red dot sight, you can use that 9mm carbine or personal defense weapon so as to reach out. I mean, there's people that shoot impressively with handguns, but for most of us mere mortals, those additional points of contact and that red dot or scope will give you a little bit more reach in terms of keeping those groups reasonably small at distances that are beyond what most of us are likely to achieve with a handgun, right? I think any money invested in is a good thing. Gold, silver, Bitcoin are edges in their way as good equipment means to get food. 80% for me. 80% of your savings in gold. Okay, that's commitment. I'll give you that. I have a lot of 357 here. Now, if there was a legal way to ship it to you, I would. Thanks, man. I was thinking of going to get my family out of the country or a place I need be for gold. Well, Sean, if you are planning on doing that, I think probably more into Bitcoin makes more sense because it's easier. I mean, you don't even have to move it around. That's one of the beauties, one of the many beauties of Bitcoin is it's not with you. Anyone, someone breaks into your house and they're not even knowing what they're looking for. No one's going to give me your Bitcoin. That's the kind of thing you get from the Nigerian prince through email, but it's not the typical thing you end up losing and breaking. And when you're traveling, you're not taking anything with you, so you can cross borders. For example, if you're leaving the United States, you can only take $10,000 cash with you. That's all you're able to take as an entire group that travels together. In the European Union, it's 10,000 per individual. So it's you, your wife, each of your kids, $10,000 per each one. So it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you're traveling and moving abroad in a kind of in a hurry and you want to have cash, you will have to find other ways of moving that around because taking it with you will be a little bit more complicated. Agreed, Carlos. Living that way now, but still digging up my past. Sky Blue. In Argentina and Venezuela, when SHTF and money is not worthless. Well, it's not worthless. I mean, Venezuela is nearly worthless, pretty much. In Argentina, money is, even back in the day, it was maybe one third of its original value, and of course, as time went by, it got even worse. But some value it did have. What happened to debt? Was there a debt collector's prison or stigma? Or collectors or just write-offs? No, well, in many cases it was dollarized. What it means is they converted your debt into dollars. It depended on the kind of contract you had signed. So for a lot of people, it was a good deal because they bought machinery for their company. For you bought a tractor and paid it in pesos, and the following day the currency crashes, and your tractor is now worth $10,000 instead of 10,000 pesos, or the equivalent, which would be 30,000 pesos. So in the local economy, it multiplied by 3 its actual value. But if you had a contract that specified that it was adjustable by inflation, then you would be in a very tough position. In terms of write-offs, there was just a few for some of the lowest income, some of the cheapest real estate property had some of that, but for the rest of people, it was just you either lose it or you just found ways of paying for it. But you were not getting a free ride. The only thing about Bitcoin is that it's volatile. You just have not worry when you see the ups and downs. Yeah, it's super volatile. Sometimes you see it and it just went down 20%. The following day goes up 15%, down 10, up 20. It's like crazy. But one of the things about Bitcoin, and I'd like to do a specific video about this, is Bitcoin is a survivor. Bitcoin has survived already 3 major real collapses, and it just came back from the dead. So it came back from the dead 3 times. So it cannot be killed. So if it cannot be killed, it's going to be around. It's going to be surviving. And it's going to be, I believe, it's going to be fulfilling its prophecy of one day becoming the currency of the world. Maybe so. And if that's the case, man, even just a few bucks in Bitcoin will be a fortune in when that happens. I live with 30% to 50% of my monthly salary. Save money will get you a long way. Yeah, absolutely, man. Green Knights. What were the most successful businesses after the financial crisis in Argentina? Well, that's a good question. You know what? Anything that replaced that which was no longer working or that was just too expensive for people. So, for example, back in the day before Uber even existed, there was already a kind of Uber in Argentina. It was called like Remis, which is like an improvised taxi, like a cheapo taxi version, and kind of like what Uber is right now. So you would just drive around people and people that just couldn't afford keeping a car anymore, and they needed to go somewhere for a small fee. You would drive them around. Many things in terms of replacing what was failing from the government. So private health, private schools, everything private. When everything public becomes crap, everything private becomes a potential good business. And then little things of luxury. You would be surprised, but a store that was selling cell phones at a good price usually did very well. That's one of those little luxuries that people give themselves. So your life sucks. You're a poor bastard in Argentina, but you can buy a somewhat nice cell phone. So you're going to be buying it because that gives you pleasure and satisfaction. And surprisingly enough, it's the kind of thing that ends up doing somewhat well. I got your 2 books today, Street Survival Skills and Surviving the Economic Collapse. Can't wait to get them read. Todd Skinsky. Todd, that is a great combination. My first book and my last book, they're kind of intended to be, well, just like you got them together, because you're going to be finding out that many of the things that I go through in the first book, they're actually much better explained and in better detail, and of course almost 10 years of experience on top of that in street survival skills. That's why I always recommend street survival skills, because it's the one that I believe it's more complete for someone that wants a quick hands-on knowledge on many of the things you should know. When the government starts giving out money, heads up, things are bad. Yeah, absolutely, man. John, yeah, when the government starts giving away money like Venezuela, that is bad. That's not good. Oh, we're getting $1,000. Oh, we're getting $2,000 right now. Okay, no, it's not good. It's the same thing like in Venezuela. They give away oil, the gasoline. You go to a gas station in Venezuela and it's cheaper than water. And for years, you would turn on the news that in Venezuela, gasoline is cheaper than water. And that just doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make sense because it's stupid, and it's just showing how bad the economy is and how desperate they want to get people support through something that's basically wrecking the economy. Farouk Abad, yeah, I think Bitcoin is here to stay, volatility notwithstanding. Yeah, it's kind of like that process in which it's going to be going through until it somewhat stabilizes and it fulfills what it's supposed to do. Hagamos un asadito, che. Okay, yeah, sure. Uh, John Hucking, we're in trouble then. Yeah, these are troubled times. These are complicated times. There's nothing, there's not a whole lot of good news. I mean, we have to stay positive by all means, but the news are pretty much bad all around. It's not a time to be super, positive about the future, at least based on what I see. The low oil prices are not helping Venezuela. Exactly. Venezuela is one of the most oil-rich countries in the world, and they depend on oil greatly. Well, now what they depend on, based on my conversations with Daniel in Venezuela, is the government in Venezuela. It's not so much the oil; it's the drugs. Those guys are drug dealers. The government in Venezuela works as a drug cartel. And this is something that we cannot talk with him in the channel because he is in Venezuela and it's a freaking dangerous place. And it's the kind of place where if the government gets hold of this kind of information, they will not hesitate in killing the guy. That's simply the way it is. If he pisses the right person or the wrong person, he just doesn't make it. So lots of things that we talk privately just don't make it to our couple interviews. But yeah, it is a country that's basically supporting itself through drug trafficking. In Carlomagno, in Venezuela, gasoline was cheaper than water. Now it's nowhere to be found. Well, that's also true. That's, you know what? Because they ruined the refineries, they just managed to screw even that. They managed to get everyone, about any company that was investing in Venezuela, so as to work the oil business, just took off, and they are, you know, they are incompetent to an extreme you wouldn't believe. So they managed to ruin the company, the oil company that they stole from the private business owner. They even managed to wreck that. I like the curio cabinet in your background. Do you store small survival items there to keep organized? Does it lock? That look No, it doesn't lock. It just has a couple door panels, and I have yeah, I have strange stuff there. I have several flashlights, several knives. I have some antiques hanging in there as well. Some strange stuff. One of these days, I'll do a little video showing what's in there because it's pretty cool. I think strange stuff, maybe at least for people. But yeah, it's mostly knives, a few silver coins, flashlights, and some is random stuff like that. We're in a depression. It just hasn't hit full blown. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a Great Depression, and it's nowhere near done. It's just it's barely getting started. Do you see the population having significant mental health problems, suicides? John Hopkins. Yeah, it is very likely to start becoming more and more of a thing. Usually that happens. In the case of Argentina, it definitely was a thing. It went up. I think suicides went up like 500% right in the worst of the economic crisis. So, but that's the kind of thing that we are still not seeing. That's the kind of thing we're going to be seeing in a few more months when people lose their jobs and they're not finding anything, when they lose hope. A lot of people still have hope in terms of it's going to be getting better, or the economy is going to be doing fine. Give it another month, and then another month, and then when you've been out of job for 6 months, that's when people start eating bullets. Um, Are you in USA? Just American? Nope, no, I'm not. Do you see the public? Well, the already answer. Algeria, the government is letting people reopen everything, even hairdressers, because the economy is collapsing and they're lying to the people. Ahmed Usul. That is very typical in some of the third world nations where they just cannot afford to not have people on the streets working, spending money, and doing their thing. In better off countries, they can afford a little bit more of this lockdown. Poor nations, no, they just cannot take it anymore, and they have to find a way of having people out there. Would Carlos Gardel be a prepper? No idea, man. I don't know. I don't think so. Just a tango singer. I don't know why he would prepare. Blade HQ sells a closet hanger for knives. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. Uh, I just discovered your channel last week. Great work. D1 Trays. Welcome, man. House tour video. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing a house tour video, but a little video of that thing would be interesting. It's a no-win situation. Either we die from the virus or we stay home and die from starvation. Uh, yeah. Well, it's complicated. It's very difficult. Being honest, it's very difficult to find that sweet spot of. Well, there's nothing sweet about that spot, but you have to find the spot where you open enough the economy so that it starts working. Because if not, it's just done for. Yet not open it too fast that you have a lot of sick people on the streets. And at the same time, like a second and third wave is kind of unavoidable even. So You may have to just accept things as they are and minimize the damage as much as possible. But eventually, people, yes, have to go out, start working again. During the Great Depression, thousands of men just disappeared. It's just a scary thought. Yeah, well, many of those guys probably just off themselves. Have you tested RAM pumps? What are RAM pumps? I have no idea what that is. Life expectancy actually increased during the Great Depression. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Did it? David H. Did it increase during the Great Depression? That could be just off top of my head right now. But if people were eating less extends your lifetime. Extends if you are there's this is all stuff that's way proven time and again by every single test done. But if you start eating like 20-30% less calories than you're supposed to, your life expectancy extends itself for like somewhat of a similar manner, 20% or somewhat like that. So if you are eating less and pretty skinny, that's likely to increase your life expectancy. Do you think we should invest in oil lamps and other light sources? And do you think it get to that point? Uh, Idalia Davis. Yes, and this is an interesting topic. You bring up the term of lighting and illumination. This is something that Daniel, the guy in Venezuela, talks about a lot. Not oil lamps. Just get yourself several good lights, several good LED lights, batteries, and solar panels. A solar panel, a battery setup. If you do something interesting in that regard, you can have your house lit properly with just a few bucks. It's really not all that expensive. It's something actually that most people we should consider doing that. But with a couple good car batteries, or even better boat batteries, or those electric scooter batteries, a couple solar panels, you pretty much can rig your house to work on LED. At least you will have light, and light is a big thing. Okay, life expectancy decreased because fewer babies, lower infant mortality to bring it down. Okay, that's a good explanation. J.P. Peters. I am from Argentina, where it suits me to be more military in Argentina, or I am from Argentina, where it suits me to be more military in Argentina or the United States. I think you're better doing a military career in the United States. There's really no doubt about that. A military career in the United States it's a plan. In Argentina, it's just not a good idea at all. Habla perfecto inglés, Frank Lakes. Okay, thanks, Frank. Turkey and deer were hunted into extinction in my area during the Depression. That's a great point, because a lot of people think that they're just going to be going out there and hunting for their food. No, no, no. You will end all edible game in just a few weeks if everyone does that. Just not a plan at all. It happened, you know what, John? It happened in Argentina as well. In Buenos Aires, they pretty much eliminated all the wild rabbits here, all that sort of thing. Anything that was edible, they just kill it off in just like a couple months, I think, during 2001. It became a matter of years later repopulating naturally, because Argentina is pretty large and has a very low population, and still, in spite of that, they pretty much ended all the game. 1918, influenza swept the globe just after the Great Depression, swept the globe. What a correlation we are in. I just seen the third part documentary yesterday. Truth or Nothing. Wait, which documentary is that, man? I don't know which one you're talking about. There's a documentary made about something like this. What year did I leave? Oh, man, I don't remember anymore. What was it, like 2012 maybe? Man, don't quote me on that. If people have their lights off at night and your house is the one with lights, isn't that making you a target? Justice American. No, that is one of those popular survival movie myths or survival novel things. It could be. I mean, in which situations would that be a thing? For example, warfare. If Russians are invading and looking for you, and you just black out everything. But for normal times, no, it's actually the opposite. You want to have a house that is visibly occupied, and hopefully there's somewhat of a hard target that anyone thinking of breaking in there says to rob the place, steal stuff from you. They just have second thoughts because they see that you're there, someone inside, someone awake. That's usually how it works. It's actually the house that seems to be unoccupied or empty or everyone asleep that people will try to break into. It's not that it's not that criminals don't have the imagination so as to figure out that a house is a place where stuff will be found. If it's blacked out, it just gives the idea of it being unoccupied. What about wheat grinder? Would it be a good to get one to grind into flour? Yes, absolutely, yes. I'm just talking about flour. I think it's for shorter term plan flour. It's just a good idea. But yeah, it's definitely something to look into. A grinder, and you just stock the grain. Probably Spanish flu. Sean Hank, 1234. During the Balkan Wars, people had to improvise and come up with innovative ideas. If you look into how people needed and came up with, would be a good thing to look into. Oh, guys, by the way, the seminar I was planning with Selco was in Sweden and was of course canceled because of this. But we keep on talking. We are still in conversation with Selco and Toby. Toby is the guy in Sweden who specializes in winter survival and and that sort of thing. But we're still in contact, and as soon as we can, we are going to be doing something together with Salco and Toby. So let me know if that's something that's interesting, because we've been talking about maybe making an online seminar instead, since we cannot do it like we would have wanted because of because of the coronavirus. But if that's something that you guys think it's interesting, I really like the idea. We just hit it off very well. We've been talking a lot with Stelco and Toby, and it's definitely something we would like to do. And I think it would be great for you to have our three perspectives on many of these topics. I think that would be something pretty cool and quite valuable for you folks. Uh, your thoughts on bunkers? Yeah, I definitely like the idea of having a bunker. I don't have one, but it's definitely something that I see the advantage. It's something that makes sense, having a safe place in case of worst case scenarios and war, that sort of thing. Having a bunker would be pretty nice. I've got a meat grinder. I gotta go. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Okay, Bryan Gibbs, man. Brian, take care. Thanks. For your information, huge yeast shortage in USA. John Hucking, there's a huge yeast shortage everywhere, and I started making my own yeast, my own my own. It's called mother dough in Spanish. In English, it's sourdough. So sourdough is something I have in the fridge already. It's super easy to make. If you have just a little bit of yeast, you can make your own yeast very easily. Just keep on feeding it with flour and water. Uh, that's something pretty easy to you. Do you have experience with pressure canning? Meats? No, no. I don't, and it's something I like to do. I love Selco and Toby. Yes, online because I can't get to Sweden, though I'd love to. Sky Blue. Okay, we have to talk. We haven't talked in this last week, but we definitely should do that. I'm interested in Selco and you online conference. Okay, I'll talk with the guys and see how we can organize. But the online seminar seems like a great idea. We have to plan something, get it done, and once I have it done, I'll get in touch with you guys and let you know. Selko will never show his face. He has no face. He's just like the back of the head. The front is the same thing. I know the guy, and the guy just doesn't have a face. It's sad, but it is how it is. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. He really doesn't. No, yes, it's just a joke. No face, nothing. There's nothing there. I'm interested. Winter survival would be amazing for us who are vulnerable to it. Irene Guevara. Well, Toby specializes on winter survival. He's done like like these expeditions. He specializes on expeditions in the like North Pole kind of thing. So yeah, he's a very cold guy. He's always cold all the time. I think making a bunker with a shipping container, that's something that's doable. I'm not super crazy about building. I like concrete. Concrete is a nice material if you know how to work it, and you can definitely make a nice bunker if you know how to work concrete. Maybe even cheaper and easier than with a shipping container. Shipping containers are fairly popular, but it depends on the price you're getting it for. Ted Ed, Minnesota winters here are always ugly. Okay, so Toby is definitely your guy for that sort of thing. Personal garden or dry food buckets. I just store food, man. I like the idea. The thing is this: I like the idea of a lot of different things, but do I have the time for everything? I have wife, 3 kids. Not really. Uh, I'd like the idea of having a you know nice food production, or at least some of it. He has a face for radio. Best climate to survive in? Yeah, that's a good question. Like a mild, warm, template, close to the equator kind of weather. The kind of where I am right now. That is the best climate to survive in. Anything that you don't have, you need constant heating. Has good growing seasons as well. Maybe not only for yourself but people around you. Even if that's one of the things. Even if you're not growing stuff yourself, but if everyone else or if a significant number of people around you grow stuff, you can trade with them, you can barter with them, you can buy from them, which is what we normally do. But living in places where there's a good production of food because of beneficial weather conditions, that's also nice. I will book out in my 30-foot sailboat, hopefully live from the sea. You sound like Matt Bracken, man. That's great. A 30 foot is exactly what he recommends. 1929, The Great Depression is the name of the video. Okay, 1929, The Great Depression is the name of the video. There are 3 parts. Okay, good to know. I'll have to check it out later. Afternoon, everyone. Wayne G. I like Selko's story on the Batman. I know a lot of those type of people. Bad times equal crazy. Yeah, a lot of crazy out there doing their thing. We're growing a garden here in USA and storing food both. We use 5-gallon buckets plus normal garden. Plan to try Three Sisters Indian technique with corn, beans, and squash. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely a plan. Mexico City has good weather. Yeah, but it has Mexico City as well. Ted, it's a huge political crime mess. Los Angeles has good weather. Yeah, California has some very nice weather. Truth or nothing is that the doc, I'm sure, need advice. Alexandra Dunbar. I am a gardening novice, but have been working on turning slabs of red clay into usable beds and have had luck growing some vegetables last year. What should I focus on? What should you focus on? It depends on what's the kind of uh, it depends on the region you are. What is more likely to grow successfully? Anything that has good nutritional value would be what I would be looking into. It really depends. It's such a broad question. I learned to cook in this quarantine. Yeah, me too. I've been more interested in this during this time, trying to get better at it, making lots of bread, that sort of thing. Didn't want to live on delivery food like most of my friends. Man, the thing is, delivery food is kind of if you're in quarantine, why would you have delivery? You don't know who touched that, who sneezed on that, who did anything to that sort of food. Get something to grow in besides clay. Clay is not easy to grow in. Okay, so storable things like beans. Uh, well, beans have a pretty nice nutritional value and would definitely be something you could look into growing. I would look into that. What's good and easy to grow in your area, in your region? what grows best there. You have to talk with locals, people to do that thing, and focus on the best nutritional value you can get, the best bang per buck. Speaking in terms of your hard work and how much nutritional value you're getting from that. North California. For your information, 4 meat processing plants have closed in the last 2 weeks in my area, Iowa. Well, yes, I see how that would be the case. The thing is, the economy is being a mess in so many areas hit by this, either because of contracts. Contracts are just you know going down like flies. There's just I was watching the news yesterday. Some big clothing firms, that they buy from India, they were just canceling their contracts in mass. There's just no need. People are not going out. People are not buying stuff. And if people are not buying stuff, whatever stock you have is just sitting there. You're just not buying more things. And that is a chain reaction up the ladder and down as well. Mostly my Filipina wife is growing it. Okay, thank you so much. Minnesota here just closed a meat plant. Yeah. You know what? I'm thinking right now, meat plants those likely live to a great degree on what they sell to restaurants. If restaurants are closed, their providers just have no one to sell to. I mean, imagine the conversation. Hey, you're not buying any more steaks? No, we're not open. We don't have clients. We don't have customers. Why would I buy more steaks or more meat? We just don't need it anymore because everyone is staying home, eating beans and rice and playing survival. People are living in ways they just never thought they would. Stores in U.S. limited pit food to one bad due supply chain interruptions today. ¿Estás en Argentina o no? Y en USA tampoco. Bag. Big meat shortage, dog food will go away. Yeah, that's another important tip, guys. I have to do this myself, but get several bags of dog food. I have to talk with my wife about this, but we need to buy a lot more of it because if you don't have that stuff, you will have to use something else, and that something else may be food that you actually have put aside for yourself. It's just a lot easier to just stock up on dog food and give the dog its actual food. Do you recommend a hot desert climate to survive? Man, no. You want to have water. Water is vital for living. I mean, it's nice to have heat. It's nice not to go cold in winter, but you definitely want to have a good amount of water. And in a desert, that's kind of counterproductive. Meat plants closing because all workers getting sick. Yeah, yeah. That's another good reason. Living near water more important than solar power. Yes, water is definitely more of a priority than solar power. I mean, it's nice to have solar. That's why those weathers. That's why some guys wonder, why do rich people live in California and those places? Well, they have fantastic weather, and usually rich people don't have to worry about super high prices or that sort of thing that normal folks have. So they're mostly enjoying the great weather, the availability of infrastructure that meets their needs, and they are in a spot surrounded by other rich people as well, and they have great climate. So the climate thing is real. It just makes life a lot easier. Minnesota has 13,000 lakes and Mississippi River. I wish I could pipeline it to Arizona. Yeah. Did you know that the Earth is flat? No, I didn't. Flat Earth conspiracy theories. Um, I will check out the Part 3 Great Depression video. One of you shared my neighbor was born 1929 and he went through it in USA. Well, if he was born in 1929, I don't see how he went through the Depression. He was just what, a baby, couple of years and so. Born in 1929. Man, he is what, 90 years old. Wouldn't have to pipeline it to Arizona if our water wasn't pipelined to California. That is also true. It lasted till World War II, 90 something. Yeah, that's definitely it. Uh, Rich people in LA because people keep going to see their garbage films. Well, there's a huge industry around that as well, man. Now, Great Depression lasted for 30 years until 1960. What about wasn't it the Golden 50s? If am I wrong with that? Wasn't the 50s like a good decade after World War II? Rich people in LA, yeah. It ended in World War II, so 1929 to like 44, 15 years. Yeah, that's what I thought. 50s had the Cold War. Yeah, our land in northern Arizona used to be very fertile until the last dam was built. We are lucky that our property in the mountains access to an aquifer. You want to fill up the Great Canyon with water? That is, you need a lot of water for that. It's called the Great Canyon for a reason. 1946 had the biggest economic boom in American history. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I don't think it lasted Great Depression from 1930 until the 1960s. That just doesn't make any. So for the red clay, it's been greatly helped by mixing the soil 50-50 with compost. Yeah, of course, if you mix it with compost, you're going to be getting a much more fertile soil. Built a 4 by an 8x8 composting with chain link fence and pallets. Pallets are super handy. I love pallets. Look at the 1929 Great Depression documentary. It'll show you interview. Okay, yes, I definitely have to check it out. Cruising Gypsy. Thank you for your chat. Hasta luego. Bye, man. Take care. U.S. still on gold standard in 50s. Yes, yes, absolutely. Minnesota is going to be miserable in the cold during a collapse. Yeah, that's one of the things. That's one of the things of nicer weather is you don't have to worry all that much about heating. Actually, where I live now, there's no concerns about heating at all. It's the Mediterranean. It's just great weather all year round. Uh, oh my God, what is your best ballot construction yet? Man, I haven't done any great construction with it, but I think it's super handy. Uh, I think I did a workbench. It turned out pretty well. But yeah, I just think they're super practical and functional, but you can do a number of things with them. Going off the gold standard was a death blow. Yeah, man, you can say that again. Yes, gold standard was what kept everything reasonable. Because you couldn't spend more money than actually existed in the planet, and whatever existed in the planet was what was in the ground or what someone had mined at some point. But you couldn't go beyond that. So that made a balance of things. You cannot have these super outrageous, ridiculous trillionaires or just doesn't even make any sense because there's just not enough money in the planet just to that for be possible. Now, the moment you start printing and making your own money out of thin air, first of all, money doesn't make any sense anymore because money shouldn't be something that people print. And then second, you just have an infinite supply of it. And then there's the matter of the owner of that money. Who is it that owns money? Well, the guy that gets to print it, obviously. And that's the way in which you're pretty much enslaved by the entire economic system. Do you live in a house or in an apartment? In a house. Fortunately, in a house, yes. Only a top few feet of a lake are frozen. I guess I had to drill into water pump. Yeah, usually that's the way. Due to high employment, baby boom, and yes, I'm a boomer. Prepper Patty. Okay, and you seem to be super proud about it, so congratulations. But yes, miserable winters. John Hopkins, have a Glock, a file, and some canned tuna. You can survive anything. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of the idea, right? If you have those things. Yeah, I'm more of the idea of passport, big wad of cash, and a gun. Basically, that you can survive anything with that as well. Spend time where you are, no heating, no worries. Nope, no, no. Don't worry about. Sometimes in the dead of winter, you just turn on a little bit of heating with the air conditioner, but man, that's basically it. No, no concerns there at all. This thing is just freezing on me a little bit. Check. Ted N. Where do you keep all your gold? Well, there's this place. It's a rounded pot, and it's at the end of the rainbow, and it's usually guarded by a green gnome that's sitting on top. You have to first find the rainbow, then follow it, and then you have to deal with the gnome, who is always pretty grumpy. And that's where I keep mine. If you're in Galveston, Texas, don't go to Crystal Beach. It's packed. Isn't there a quarantine going on? How is that it's packed? I thought that people were quarantined over there. My answer is what gold. Okay. Best to live near the ocean or away? Man, I love living near the ocean. I think it's awesome. And I actually see the ocean from my living room and my bedroom, and it's great. Um, Yeah, I just like it. It's just nice, warm weather. When it's hot, you just open the windows and you have a nice, very cool, nice breeze. And it's nice to watch. I don't know. There's something about living close to water that I like. And I guess that strategically, if we want to get all prepper, if you had a boat, the kind of thing we talk about with Matt Bracken, if you had a boat living close to the ocean, or you're not even owning a boat. If you know how to sail and you can just acquire a boat at the last minute, or maybe you have the money to actually buy one when you need it, uh, you can just travel anywhere in the planet with a boat. Do you suggest Monero or Bitcoin? Man, I don't even know what Monero is, so I'm going to be saying Bitcoin. Leprechaun. Yes, a leprechaun. Remember Ireland, there's lots of those around. My goal is in the Mariana Trench. Okay. Yeah, what's your address? Uh, Texas, way too humid. Naomi Campbell's Bad Hair Day channel. Jesus Christ, what name is that? Naomi Campbell's Bad Hair Day channel. Hey, yes. Haha, Florida Panhandle Beach is perfect. Good day, Fernando Smokey of Stormwood. Hey man, just I'm gonna be here just a few more minutes, not a lot more. So if anyone has any questions, I'm kind of gonna be wrapping it up in a few more minutes. So before I go, if you have anything to ask or say, Sean Hank. Ha ha ha. Ted N. Perfect beach. Panhandle Beach is perfect. In your tooth. Yeah. You keep your gold in your tooth, right? Well, I don't know if you remember that movie, Blood Diamonds with Leonardo DiCaprio. He had like a hollowed out tooth, and there he kept like a diamond. So when he lost everything, when he left jail, and he just pulled a tooth out with a knife, and he got the diamond, and that got him a few bucks so as to get back on his feet. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know how you would have a hollowed out tooth. I mean, man, yes, I guess if you miss one, but that's maybe something to look into if you have one of your teeth pulled. Oh, well, what microphone quality? That microphone quality is A's. It sounds like you're talking to me through a can string phone. Yeah, it's not super good. It's not great. Yeah, I have to get another microphone. Yes, I have. My wife told me I have to get another one. I should get one soon enough. This one is crap. This one is no good. Just I don't know. Is it better like this? Is if I talk closer to it, it just helps at all, or is it still terrible? Monero is a privacy coin. It might be a difficult if SEC bans privacy coins. Man, I would just go with Bitcoin. I think I heard about Monero something, but yeah, just not all that great. So guys, this is gonna be it for me. So yeah, if you have any last thing to say, any last question you had in mind, but if not, be checking out. How do you adjust your prepping strategy for living in a city? Man, well, I was never living in the countryside. I was never. But there's several advantages to being. I'm not living like in the middle of a big city or anything like that. It's more of a small town suburb kind of thing. So that's like the sweet spot in between, not too Goldilocks spot. So guys, that's gonna be all for now. I'll see you probably next weekend. Okay. If you think it's a good idea, we'll do it again next weekend, right? So yeah, folks, take care and see you next time. Bye bye.